Hey soccer friends, I just want to give a shout out to our partner, Team Player. They are changing the game on how you find the perfect soccer team for your player. Parents, this means no more endless social media scrolling to find information on teams. With Team Player, everything you need to know is just a few clicks away. It's simple, straightforward, and lets you find the best coach and team for your player without any of the usual headaches. And coaches, we all know how tough it can be to get your team noticed, but when you subscribe to one of Team Player's team plans, you instantly get access to set up an online team profile that allows you to reach more potential players and showcase what your team is all about. It's super easy and lets players and parents see why your team could be the right fit for them. And if you sign up using the promo code PITCH, you can try any team plan free for 1 month. So whether you're managing a team or searching for one, come on over to www.teamplayer.us. That is TEAMPLAYR.US. And come give Team Player a look. Family-owned Soccer Innovation is your go-to source for top quality equipment. Whether you're a player, a supportive family member, or a dedicated coach, they have everything you need to elevate your game. For players, their innovative equipment are designed to boost your skills and performance on the pitch. From their agility cones to their portable goals, they have you covered. And family members, they offer durable equipment that's built to last because we know your support is critical to your player. Coaches, trust me, they can provide the equipment you need to run effective training sessions and shape the next generation of soccer players. Visit Soccer Innovations at soccerinnovations.com to start elevating your game with them. And if you use the code PITCH, PITCH, you can receive up to 10% off your next order. Hello and welcome back to Chat by the Pitch. This is Ian Babcock, your host. This week, I have 3 coaches from Lions Futbol Club. If you're in the Corinth area, this is a club for you to check out. They're a 1-team club, and I think you might want to check them out. If your kid is in there, if your boy is in their age group, you might want to check them out. They seem like a great up-and-coming club that offers a lot. They have some great outlooks on how they're trying to run their team and what expectations they have. So let's start this chat and head to the pitch.
We are Lions Futbol Club. We're a club from Corinth. Yeah, people don't know Corinth, the city. It's Benton, Texas. It was established in 2023 as a Lions Futbol Club. Before that, we used to play recreational for many years. Then we decided to finally make the decision and move up to competitive or select level.
That's awesome. So where did each one of you, I'll start with you guys then, where did each one of you guys get your start in this beautiful, love?
I'm from Costa Rica. I was born in Costa Rica. And over there, as soon as you start walking, pretty much, you start kicking the ball around. Sometimes even before you start running and you got a soccer ball, that's the only toy that we could afford, at least in my house. Started playing since I have knowledge. And I started my first team when I was probably 8 or 9. Besides playing in the school every single day, started this team, local teams called Uruguay Coronado, which is actually the colors, the black and yellow, from our team comes from there. And that was my first team, so that's why I decided to pick the black and yellow for the Lions. Playing there in that team for 3 or 4 years, playing school back home in Costa Rica. At the age of 13, 14, we moved to another city, and it's called San Francisco, which is still in the capital of San Jose in Costa Rica. And I started playing for another team called Pacifica. I was there since 13 until I was like 16, playing there. I used to always play left wing, left back. Play for the school too. We play a lot of futsal indoor soccer back home. Not all the schools have like actual soccer field to play outside. So we play a lot of futsal and inside the basketball gym. Since what the tournaments were playing back home, got to go do tryouts for the national team on their U17. Went a couple tryouts with them. I didn't make it to the last I played tryout with them until the last two final cuts before the elimination stage started. Funny story on that team, the goalie, they actually went to that World Cup under 17 years old was Keylor Navas, Real Madrid goalie and 3-time Champions League captain. He played there. He actually didn't play in that World Cup. He was their second goalie for the Costa Rican team. And after that, when I turned 16, we moved to the United States. Went to New Jersey, lived in New Jersey for about a year. Played high school there my first year. Was sophomore, played there for 1 year. Came to Texas after that. And I came to Denton and played for Geyer High School, 06 and 07. Junior and senior year, being the first generation to graduate from Geyer. Playing soccer, it's funny because when I started, there was no seniors in the school. So all the varsity team we were sophomores and juniors and freshmen. So we got beat up pretty bad that whole first season. Played there 2 years and that was it.
And awesome. How did you get into coaching then?
Coaching, one with this, I'm lost soccer is kind of a normal job and normal other things. It's just what I love to do. I can do this 24/7. I can watch soccer 24/7, learn. I tell my wife that if they will pay me for every game that I have watched in my life, we'll be millionaires by now. Yes, I love it. Sometimes I'm watching 2-3 games at a time on the weekends, especially 2 on TV, 1 on computer, 1 on my phone. It's just crazy. But my son, we were like 3, 4. We got him first soccer ball. He started to play. He loved the sport. So we signed him up when he was 5, almost 6. And he started playing recreational here in Lake Cities in Corinth. And that first year I went and I helped as assistant coach of the recreational team. And then the season after that, the guy that was running the team couldn't do it anymore. I decided to take cover, and the knowledge that I had and the thing that I think I could bring to the little kids and the experience. Started that back in 2017, 18, around there with that team. And from there, we went to keep playing recreational. First couple of seasons were very tough. We had very losses and a lot of learning and new kids coming and going. And then after that, we picked up 1 recreational division 4 years in a row. And then we went to the Tournament of Champions, which is a recreational state champion thing. And this was in 2022, right? I believe. And we won that too. We won the state champion. So we decided it was time to make the team to move up and go to competitive and select level. And that's what we formed the Lions Futbol Club.
Love it. So, Ian, thank you very much for having us on tonight. I really appreciate the opportunity to come in and visit with you. Just to echo some of Mario's comments. I don't have quite the soccer background that Mario does. I played growing up in Northern Nevada in the 1980s, which is obviously a very different environment and quality of football versus we're in North Texas where we sit right now. But played into my early high school years and frankly just wasn't good enough to continue at that point. So stepped away from the game for a number of years. I've been in Texas since 2010. And as luck would have it, my son ended up on Mario and Rick's son's teams as well. And I mean, Mario went through it, had some pretty extensive success for a few years at the rec level and decided to go ahead and make the transition to competitive just under a year ago. And we've had a heck of a great line, and we've got a great culture. We got some great parents, lots of support. We got some great sponsors that take care of us. And it's really been honored to be a part of the journey and help support Mario's vision and what Rick's trying to do here. Love it.
My name is Rick Garza, and Ian, thank you so much for having us on your podcast, Chat by the Pitch. Super, grateful that we have this opportunity. I'll echo Mario and Mike's comments as well. For me, I didn't grow up playing soccer, living it vicariously through my son, Cullen Garza. And we were grateful during the COVID season, to be able to join Mario's team and help develop it, and also massage it to where we saw good success. And then there was developing success as well. And to echo Mike's point, the parents are just fantastic. Before you jumped on, we were chatting about the successes and why we have the success that we have, and why some of these kids don't go looking for other clubs and we don't hear of players trying out for other clubs because of the culture that we've developed. And that's a huge pat on the back for those parents because of the commitment that they put in. Mario has high expectations for these players, has high expectations for the parents as well to meet. And that's to be on the pitch, ready to go, uniform on, whether it's practice or game. And he sets the standard, and the parents they eat it up, and there's something that they look forward to.
Awesome. Out of the four of us, only one of us have a soccer background. I will honestly say my soccer background started with I grew up with a baseball and wrestling background. So I completely understand being lost in this world of soccer. So I get that completely. I'm going to start off at the very ground level. So how many teams do you guys have, and what age groups does it start at?
So it's funny because we are a very small club. We only have one team.
Nothing wrong with that.
And but we put so much passion and love and time into this that we love it. Obviously, three of our sons play in the team, but we have seen him grow. My son, and for example, my son Mason, they've been playing together since they were 6 years old. They're 13 now. Pauline came along about almost 4 years ago now. Seeing all these kids grow and develop and create friendships and memories that they're gonna keep for the rest of their lives it's just amazing. And how much they have learned and developed as a soccer player, as a young man, it's amazing. So we only had this team. Right now, we're going to be U14. All these kids are born in 2011. We played last season. We played the Plano Premier Invitational League. We started at the bottom. We did Division 5, and we won that in the fall of 2023. And in the spring, we did Division 5, then the Division 4. We won that as well. And we're supposed to go to Division 3 now, but we got some plans to do some placement tournament here in Farley, go to Division 1 or 2.
That's in August, correct? Time frame, end of July,
Yes.
beginning of August.
In the second weekend of August.
Exciting time.
So with your one team that you guys have, so what is your core philosophy that you guys think is more important that you guys build your foundation from?
Go ahead, Mike.
I think for us, it's just, as Shiv was, we work hard. I think that's really the core value that Mario has instilled in the team, is that we're going to work hard, we're going to play hard, and we're going to put the best possible effort that we stand out on the field each time we play. So it really gets down to really controlling the things that we can control, right? Which is, we're going to work hard, we're going to play hard, and we're going to hustle, and we're going to do our best. There's going to be times where we're going to come across teams that have either better athletes or know more about the sport than we do, that we may come up a little bit short, but it's never going to be for a lack of preparation or a lacking effort. Every week during the season, Rick, in addition to the spiritual North Star of our team, Rick's also the tech genius that kind of makes all the magic happen. Every week, within 2 hours of the game ending, every kid on the team has their film of the game. Mario's pointing out, here's what we need to work on. This is the things that we did. These are the things that we need to probably practice harder, look at, do better. It's really a continuous pursuit of playing really good soccer and putting in an extensive amount of effort to do. Again, small club, I like to refer to us as a scrappy independent. That's what we are. We're not a big team with lots of resources and lots of initials around the leagues that we play in. We just play really hard and we make sure that everyone's fully invested, which really gets back to what Rick was talking about with the parents. We didn't have a single kid on our team go out for another club this year, right? Which is, again, my knowledge of club soccer is relatively limited, but I think that's a pretty rare thing. And I truly believe it's because these parents see how truly invested the leadership of the club is. And honestly, what we've done in 10 months. 10 months ago, we were a rec team. And we'd love for being a rec team, but I think right now we're sitting at 54 in terms of the North Texas State rankings. And again, it's not some magic thing that's happened. It's just continuous work, continuous pressure, continuous conditioning, and Mario really preparing these kids to play good soccer week in and week out.
So with that being said, it's the work ethic of the players and the coaching. So do you guys use technology do you guys leverage technology to your advantage for training sessions? And obviously you're using video, which answers one of my other questions later on, but do you leverage technology for training sessions? There's so much out there today that can help influence and educate players on the fly in the moment, and coaches themselves also is the same manner. Or are you guys strictly old school to a degree still? And when you're planning training sessions, you stick to the basic foundation still, or where are you guys at in that process? Might be the better way of phrasing this.
That's a good question. And thank you for asking it. When we were rec, me and Mike were going to their little iPhones or holding them up with the little stand. But as we evolved 10 months ago, we moved to the next level where the team with the sponsorship funds and the support there, the financial piece, we were able to purchase a VO camera. And what we did, I was able to navigate my way through the connectivity piece because I don't know if you're familiar with the VOs, but they hold a very large file. So I was able to streamline the downloading process to we would have it within just an hour or two of availability to the families. We would have it to availability to the team or to the coaches. And then we would see it through our own lenses. And then we would piece out certain touch points for those videos, and we would talk about them. We would see what would be if there's opportunities there for improvement. And to Mike's point, the continuous improvement of this team is just, for me, it's unparalleled that I've seen, even in the adult world, trying to adult grown people to do the right thing. These kids, in my perspective, they feel like they don't want to disappoint the coaches. They don't want to disappoint Mario, and they don't want to disappoint each other. And I think they see that in each other, and they look to each other for support, for moral support, and also to motivate, because if they see somebody doing the right thing, they want to do the right thing as well. And I think it goes hand in hand with what Mario's established here. We've just created something that is, in layman's terms, I look forward to practice. I was looking at the calendar earlier today, and I'm like, we don't have practice days, so what do we do? Oh, I forgot, we have the podcast, so let's get this done. And this gives us an opportunity to kind of pat ourselves in the back in a way and kind of share our best practices with everybody. And Ian, perfect platform to be able to share to some of these coaches, because when I was when we were rec, I was having conversations with other teams that didn't have the success that we were having, but I felt like I wanted to share our best practices so that they could be successful and not only create a better league or a better environment for everybody in the community to grow, but also, as coaches, we're also growing at the same time, right?
It's always a growing process, and that's so important. So I know this is a weird question to ask, but do any of you guys have your coaching license or start your coaching license process or looking to do that, just so parents have an idea what's going out there? I have my opinion on licenses, and it's not a positive one. I have a few. I'm actually working on my D license right now. Hearing you say that you have a positive thinking or about these licenses, I don't neither, because I know guys that I pay thousands and thousands of dollars on this type of licenses just to say, oh, I have a BC license. And when you sit down with them and talk about soccer, they don't know much. So I'm working on my D license, and I do it not just because I want to show I have a D license or I have a diploma of a D license. It's because I'm passionate about it and I like to learn new stuff. Going back to the technology questions and all that, I do prepare myself. I do a lot of webinars with coaches here from the United States and from Europe too.
where I learned different techniques when it comes to practices and how to get the kids ready mentally, physically, technically. So how to get better. And I do it because it's my passion. I like it. I love it. And that's my standard. I always want to be better so my kids be better and parents see the difference and so they can see the development of the team and on the kids. Yeah, I'm working on my license and using technology with the webinars and all that keeps me up to date because I'm a huge follower of European coaches and trying to learn from the best and little that you can find here and there on the web.
One of my favorite quotes, because it made me feel really stupid at the end of it, was from Sir Alex Ferguson. Someone said so much about the game, and I'm paraphrasing it here, but he goes, I only know 1% of the game. If I knew as much as you guys are giving me credit for, different story, but when he's saying he only knew 1% of the game, and here I feel like I only knew 1% up until this point, and now I feel like I know 1/1,000,000th of the game if he only knows, and he's supposed to be one of the greatest soccer coaches of all time. So if he says that, So if he's saying that, makes me feel really small and insignificant in this great game of football. So as you're going through this process, so you have a 2000, or was it 2020 or 2011? No, I'm going to mess this up. 2011 or 2000?
2011. Kids are born done in 2011.
So there's one team. Do you guys plan on branching on beyond this team, or is it just to focus on this one team and see how you guys do and then see what the next phase will be for you all? Because I can tell you, not coaching anymore is not a fun thing to go through.
Yeah, I had thought about that. What's going to happen with this kid hit 18, 19, or they just don't want to play anymore. Gary taught there. But yeah, we will do work at that regular job, so that takes a lot of our time. I would love to, grow the club and have more teams and be able to expand our culture and our discipline and our respect and our development and fun that we do with our kids now to doing other kids and parents. That has always been a talk there that we had since we started the club, that we would like to add more teams to it. We haven't yet, but yeah, in the future we would love to do that, at least my point of view.
It's awesome. No, there's nothing right. You have to start somewhere. And that's how I view this. If you talk to any of the coaches, most of them start with one team and they branch from there. And I can give you examples where they've been successful and where they merge later down the road. It really depends on how ambitious you all are. Moving down this line, what is your typical season like for you guys? So let's start off with training sessions. Do you guys train twice a week, 3 times a week, 5 times a week? I can tell you clubs that train. There's U6 teams that train 5 times a week, and I'm just scratching my head here.
So during the season, Mario will set up at least 2 practices a week. Once the season gets going, once it's before the season, it's twice a week, warming up to it, and then during the season, it's up to three times a week. Mario likes to use some of those practice times to bring in outside resources, outside training, like personal trainers and that sort of thing. We have some sponsors that do facilitate some conditioning classes, and he likes to push that a lot, especially when we know that we're coming up against some heavy hitters. And yeah, it's very flexible, but every once in a while we'll have a situation where we don't have a whole lot of kids, but for the most part, 90 to 100% show up.
So let's move on to the next fun part, the alphabet soups. What leagues do you all play in? Being an independent club, I know it's limited, but there's a lot there with USYS, and thankfully I have my all the rest of them.
Right now, we just doing one at the moment, which is the Plano Premier Invitational League. Obviously, it's in Plano, and we had a lot of success. Like I said, we won the Division 5 and Division 4. We do a lot of tournaments in between that. Just last season, between August and May, besides the league, we did 6 tournaments. So we stay pretty busy. We're gonna stay on this league at least for one more season or a year, and then we can see what's gonna happen after that. Classic, MPL, pre-CNL. It just depends on the kids on the kids at the end of the season.
Now, with that being said, you guys do your Plano Premier League and your tournaments. Do you guys do travel tournaments, or do you guys try to maximize the teams that come to the DFW area, because I think we have some of the best league tournaments here in the country.
So for the inaugural year, we really made an effort to try and keep it local. One of the goals stepping into the initial season was to try and keep it as reasonably financially affordable as possible for the various folks that we had on the team. Again, knowing where we were going into this, one of the big clubs where you're going to be charging, several $1,000s a year, plus uniforms, plus travel, plus tournaments. We kept things at a very limited financial investment level, and then with the generosity of some of our sponsors, we just felt that the wisest use of that was to keep the tournaments local to make sure that we can get the maximum amount of participation from our team members. For the 24-25 season, we're looking at gearing 2 out-of-town tournaments. Again, just based on some of the success we had during our non-mill year, we've been able to generate some additional sponsorship dollars. And I think the parents and families have seen the fruits of all the hard work that their kids have put in, as well as the coaching staff, and frankly, the time investment that all the families have made. We're going to be able to go ahead and do a couple out-of-town tournaments this year. And I think Mario announced it at our practice on Wednesday night. And the raucous cheer that came up from all 15 of the boys was a pretty awesome thing to hear. And, most of the parents too, actually. I think most of the parents were more excited about it than the boys, to be honest. Hopefully we'll get to do some of that this year. Yeah, we're looking forward to doing hopefully 3 tournaments in this coming season.
That's awesome. I was always thought, if you're winning the local competition, it's okay to leave. But if you're not winning the local competition, there's no point of leaving outside the community. My favorite stories is I talk to coaches that I've known, and they say, yeah, we just went to Vegas and we just played 3 teams from DFW that were in our bracket. I'm like, you just wasted how many thousands of dollars to play how many teams from Dallas? You play in leagues and tournaments here. And someone was telling me recently it was the reason no one plays local is so they don't lose their players. And in the sounds of it, you guys you won't be losing your players to competition. So speaking of the competition and everything along that line, how do you guys differentiate? I can't pronounce the word. How do you guys different from all the other clubs that are out there? Being independent gives you a lot of flexibility and a lot of leniency that bigger clubs can't do. So how do you distinguish yourself from the larger clubs in the Metroplex?
You know what? Mario's probably have a great answer for this, but I'm just going to throw one thing out there. We got a guy that dresses up in a Lions suit every weekend and runs around to get up and gets the kid piped up. No, but I've not seen that at PPL, Classic League, UCNL, you name it. No one else has a dude running around a Lions suit to get the family piped up. So we got that. I know that.
Yeah, we got the master running around and little kids asking for pictures with our Lions. So it's
draws the crowd.
Parent idea.
It draws the crowd.
idea. He showed up the first game that we had competitive level, and it is funny to this day. We like it, we love it. First of all, I think if I gotta give it to somebody, it's the parents. The parents are. We have such a special group of parents and kids, and not just parents, but families, brothers, sisters, grandmas, uncles, nieces, cousins that come and support the team. Again, some of these kids been together for 6, 7 years, another one's 4 or 5, and they see each other as, I'd say, as brothers. And we have created a very special culture where they love coming to practice. They love seeing each other. We just don't do soccer stuff. We do other activities. We do birthday parties, pool parties. We go bowling. We do arcade places. We do indoor soccer, full soccer, pool tennis. We do all kinds of activities with these kids outside the soccer that it has created such a good atmosphere that they just love being in a team, stay together, fight together, play together. They're great players, otherwise they wouldn't be winning all these games in all these divisions. It was just like magic happened. We have a great group of boys, very respectful, very disciplined. They're great with the ball, they're very technical, very smart to play, because like I always tell them, you don't play football just with your feet, you play with your head. They're very smart. Everything that we do, teach them or something new, ideas, either me or Mike or Rick, or where we bring guest coaches They're eager and they're hungry to learn new stuff. I think that's the clue, and it has been so easy for us to do it. We were scared at the beginning to do it when we went from rec to competitive, but we didn't know what was going to be like. But it's been a great, successful. Like they say, none of the kids left. They all wanted to stay. Nobody wanted to try out anywhere else. They didn't want to be a Lion, and that's all they wanted. They wanted to keep playing together, and it's been great. I'm very proud of them and the parents. Is a great support. Anything that we come up with, any ideas, they're always there. They're always there for practices. And we have done practices at 7, 8 in the morning on a Sunday, conditioning, and they show up. It's 100-degree weather, 105 degrees. Last year we had a tournament at 100 degrees. They were there. Or 20 degrees, 18 degrees. And the winter and the tournament practices, they were there. It just helps a lot. And along with the sponsors, small team, we went out there and trying to look for sponsors, and they see what we had been doing, and it helps. And the other thing too, it's that we charge a lot. We are probably, from what we have heard in the area, we're probably the cheapest club in the area. We don't make a penny out of this. We're not like the big club that they make money. They see it as a business. We don't see it as a business. We donate our time and knowledge to create a great team and a great group of boys.
Yeah, and I think to highlight what Mario just said about the boys doing things outside of the pitch, it's huge. That cohesiveness is a big part of just gelling together, because now you're developing that trust. You're developing that respect, that communication piece that is huge out in the field, right? And I think that the parents see that. The parents see that the fruits of their labor out there are paying off. And before you jumped on, Ian, where Mike and I were having this conversation about why didn't the boys go try out? So you didn't hear of any boys trying out for another big club because they wanted to go do ECNL or whatever. Why didn't they do that? Because they're comfortable with this culture. They're seeing a sense of development that is comfortable with their pace, and they trust the people that are around them.
I think that comes back to, you said trust, which is a huge part. I actually have, since I've been doing all my interviews a lot lately and over the last 2 years, I've came to realize there's a few things that there's two sides of the game. There's the parent perspective and there's the coach's perspective, and there's ego. And I feel like there is player-centric ego from the coach. There's coach-centric ego. And then on the other side, it's parent-centric for the player, and then parent-centric ego. And this is something I've been toying with, and how to phrase it and say it and talk about it, because I feel smaller clubs are more easier to fall in line with the player-centric ego. Because if their players are developing, the coaches get the showcase, the club gets the showcase they deserve, and it's not about stroking the coach's ego. So that being said, from the sounds of it, you guys are very much player-centric. Sounds like your parents are player-centric. It's not about the flashy social media posts, or I'll be honest, I follow most of the clubs in the Metroplex, and I'll be honest, I know that you guys post a little bit, or I've seen some of your posts that you guys have posted, but it's not like some of them that are out there where it's every single weekend, it is, or every other day, posting about something. And that really, as a parent, that tells me it's more about the players than everything else that's going on. So with that being said, guys, recognize your players, because you guys are in a unique situation because you guys are an independent club. And I know this, you don't have to be in a big, powerful club to go to college or to go get picked up by the pros. It's just a matter of right place, right time. Are you guys planning on doing with USYS, trying to make a showcase in the future years, or because that's coming up, because if they're U14, they're going to be, they think about this 8th grade, 9th grade school year. So
grade, 8th grade.
So they're moving into one more year. They're starting to looking at getting ready to go to college and figuring out if they want to go play college ball or just play soccer for fun right now. So how do you all plan to help them achieve their next level of goals? If it's making the high school team, going on to college, or just moving to pro, or just loving to play the game?
Answer first, and the cheerfulness. And from what I talk to Rick and all the time, it's when I tell the team, when I have our talks before practice or after practice, I made it to my high school varsity team since I started, and it's a great feeling. So I always telling every practice, every game, every activity that we do, every video that I send your parents for you guys to watch, or anything that we do is to get you ready to eventually you guys can make it to the high school team. And it's funny because all of our kids go to different schools. If they eventually make it to their high school teams, we talk about this, gonna be Friday nights when we gonna go see them, and they gonna be playing against each other in different high schools around the area. Everything I do is just to get them at that level, the highest level possible, so they can make it to the high school team, and hopefully from there, doing tournaments, or they do a lot of summer camps and stuff like that too. Somebody can see them and hopefully go to college, pay 50% of scholarship or full scholarship or something. That would be the biggest gift for me as a coach. To be able to say, I coached this kid and he made it to college and he's got a full scholarship for playing football. And everything I do is just to have it ready. You ask my son right now, and what do you want to be when you grow up? Soccer player. He doesn't have any other answer. He doesn't want to be an engineer. He doesn't want to be a doctor. He want to be a fireman. Oh, everything has ever said since he was 4 years old. So I want to be a soccer player. You got to guide him and tell him, you got to study a career. There's not a soccer player career that you can follow, not a professional one. And even if you make it professional, you got to be able to do something after. At least to my son, I talk to them a lot about that. And to the other boys too, we are very big on discipline, on respect. And going back to the question of how do we recognize the kids, that has to do a lot with that. We don't want troublemakers in the team. We don't want disrespect in the team. We don't want any bullying in the team. We do not accept that. And that comes from me and Mike, and we have taken that for them and the parents. Well, you can be a little messy, but if you're disrespectful, you will not play in this team. So it's a combination between technically how good you are and how good of a person you are to be able to make it to a team.
I get frustrated as a parent because you hear all the crap talking on the pitch from the players to the other team. And then what's even worse is the backbiting within the own teams. And when times get tough, and it comes back to leadership at the top, allowing that to happen. And as a parent, I feel even at the top levels, you have to they show respect to each other. They may backbite like siblings because they're at that level, but I feel like teammates that are fighting like siblings tend to play much better together because they tend to have that rhythm. So it sounds like you guys are on the right page for that. So
we don't allow any of those fighting against another kid in the other team, or teammates, or referees, or parents, or anything like that. That's just not allowed. It might happen one time, we fix it, or we let you know, hey, you fixed it, or you out, which they happened one occasion, one player, and he's not part of the team anymore. So we very big on that.
Now, me as a parent, I have a bad habit of yelling at ref. So how do you guys handle the parent politics and parent sideline behavior and parents like me that like to yell when the ref doesn't call a foul on my kid or against my kid because it's too aggressive?
Well, how does Mike word this? This is better than watching Game of Thrones, right?
So I'll jump in, and Mario, please correct me when I misspeak on this. So I think one of the things that it's come from being the small scrappy club, so to speak. There's a standard that we set, and it's really easy to uphold in the sense of we're clean, we don't leave trash behind, and we leave the pitch. We used to line our bags up. We take a knee when the other team has an injured player. We go over, we applaud to the parents at the end of the game. And in terms of the behavior stuff with the sideline side of it, we've set a pretty clear expectation that we want to be the classiest team at the tournament, right? Or the classiest team in the league, whatever that means. In the instances where we have folks that get overly excitable, typically Mario will dispatch Rick or myself to go over, just give them a noogie and say, hey, let's ease it up a little bit. And again, the expectation that Mario communicates to the kids and the parents is, we are going to act in a certain fashion. We're going to conduct ourselves in a certain way. And if we don't abide by that, we're going to have some different dialogues. Again, I think we've not had a lot of problems with this. Mario said we had one instance where it got a little bit challenging, but sort of we got that resolved. But the parents, when we select the kids for the team, there's also a vetting process that we go through with the families as well, right? Do they fit in totality with what we're trying to accomplish here? We don't scream at the officials. We don't use bad language, so to speak. And we treat each other with respect, or we treat the other team with respect. And I think when you find kids that embody those attributes, typically the parents are going to be kind of from the same quad. Obviously, if someone gets clipped going into the penalty box, there might be a little bit of chirping, but again, I think for the most part, everyone understands what we're trying to accomplish. And if one of Rick or I had to go over and pull someone aside and go, hey, maybe we take it easy on this, there's really never any pushback. Again, so I think everyone understands the culture that Marty has tried to set to a team.
I believe it starts with the clubs to change the culture on the sidelines. When I coached, my biggest pet peeve was sideline coaching from parents, and you're talking 4v4 at the time, and nothing drove me nuts. I'm telling the player to do one thing, and the parents are telling them to do the opposite. I've been guilty of it myself.
I think that's why Mario actually probably invited me to be a coach, just so I would shut up from the other sideline. I'm not sure, but it's fish. I think that would be here.
When there's passion, there's only a drive. Yes. Yeah, and I'm right. We don't have that right now. But yeah, when they were younger, I remember having one or two conversations with the parents. When they're playing, the one that they need to listen to, fuck kids is me, not you guys. You guys can cheer, go, kick hard, do this, do that, but don't coach him. If you confuse the kid, he might listen to you. He's trying to listen to me. And now they be listening to the other coach and the other team, and now you're just getting more confused. And right now at this age, we have a really good group of parents. They always cheer, make noise for the kids and stuff, but we don't have those issues anymore. Everybody's very respectful. But yeah, you're the coach, and you're the one that called the shots.
I like that. So,
do you guys, we talked about the coaching philosophy, and I know I'm bouncing a little bit all over the place, but with parents today and the culture in North Texas, how do you all facilitate the culture of parents not intervening? Because I'll be honest, when I coached, I had parents telling me what I needed to be doing. And I literally would spend for a hour practice, I probably spent 6 hours prepping for that one practice. P4, we had about 13 kids, and I would spend 2+ hours, if not more, sometimes 10 hours prepping for that one training session, going through what I had from memory from the game before, my notes. How do you guys, I guess you're training the parents to let you guys do your thing, or through your selection process, you guys have been fortunate enough not to have that?
Just historically, the parents understand what Mario's trying to put together. And we go back to this trust factor where the parents trust what Mario's doing, trust what we're trying to put together. And then at the same time, they give us the amount of space. Sometimes we'll see the kids just walk up to the field and the parents leave. And then 45 minutes later, they're back in the parking lot. But they know, based on the development of these kids, that Mario's going to do what needs to be done. He may have, and I'm sure he's had conversations in the past, aside from Mike and I, where he's talking to them or communicating with them on a one-on-one basis, where Mario is in some ways, in some respects, stern with them and laying down the sidelines for them, because they may need some assistance there a bit. But in terms of the parents, I think that they see that and they trust them. Hence why they didn't go try out for another team.
Yeah, we have been very open.
Oh, go ahead, Maureen. Sorry.
We have been very open on all the stuff that we do. I always tell you, having questions about your child or why your kids playing this position or way, and many conversations when they have come to me and be like, hey, I want him to try a different position, or I think he would be good here. And now we'll have to have the one-on-one conversation, okay, based on his ability and the way he performs and his technical ability. I think he plays here, and I give him the reason why the kid plays in that position, or why I didn't put him in a certain amount of minutes, or we were tying, and how come my kid didn't go in. So I always have those conversations. And when I need to see some specific work they need to do on their own besides the regular practice that we do, I always tell them. And then I say, he needs to work on one. He needs to work on, the left. He needs to work on crossing, whatever the case might be. I always tell them. So I guess they trust me. They have seen the development of these kids. They have seen the results of the work that we all do for them. And it's been great. I haven't had any issues with parenting, why my kid doesn't play here, or any mad parent. I don't know, just being mad because the kid doesn't play a certain position or doesn't play that many minutes, and anything like that. I always explain to them everything if they have a question.
Got it. Gotcha. Thank you. Michael, were you going to say something?
No, it's got to just mention during the course of each practice, there's active engagements with any parent that's on the sideline, either Rick or myself, particularly over there visiting with, how you doing? What's going on? Good to see you. How's things? What's going on with family? So I think in the sense of, I think that they feel recognized, engaged with, that they're being talked to, right? Rick and myself and Mario, they'll just hide out on the field with the kids, and then practice ends and we send them back to their folks. There's active dialogue in every practice between the parents and the coaching staff. And the worst thing you can do is let bad feelings fester, right? The best thing you could possibly do is immediately address, immediately talk to, and make sure you get in front of any of these sorts of issues. And I think, again, just with the culture we have and the active engagement with the parents, we're continuously visiting with them every single practice, every single week, twice a week, 3 times a week, conditioning, games, regular workouts. So again, we think we've done a pretty good job of making sure we're in front of most of that, to where if anyone wants to talk about something, they've always got an active ear to listen to and hear whatever thoughts they might have. And it's, it's something that's significant. Obviously, we take it straight to Mario.
And we get him involved too. We do at least once every season. We have a parents versus kids game. So all the parents that want to play against the boys, we do have a game. Or sometimes we just do a crazy scrimmage and we put parents as goalies. And all those little details that might seem minor, they do help because it keeps the parents involved and the kids love that. Hey, I'm going to try to score on my dad, or I'm going to dribble my dad and something. So all those little details that we have added to parents versus Lions game or anything like that, that always helps. And I think they're thankful for the participation and practices, and that they get to be involved with the kids and with the whole team as a Lions family. That's how we call it, because it has become a big family.
Yeah, and I think developing that TCR is that trust, credibility, and respect is just a huge piece to just this massive machine that we put together. The cohesiveness that goes along with it is just massive, and I'm super proud of it. I think the rest of the coaches would repeat that sentiment, but it's part of, we've grown it to be something that's part of our family here at the Garza Hart household. So something that we just embraced. It's beautiful.
I love it. As you guys are going through all this and the fiascos of it, and I'm looking now, you have the great foundation. So I'm going to take a step back, because you guys have had these kids for quite some time now from the sounds of it. Where do you view the foundation that you built, and how was that foundation built to be part of your culture today? Because as a parent looking at a team, the foundation where these kids' individual technical skills and natural talent and natural knowledge, or soccer IQ, comes into place. Where did you guys start with the foundation? Like I can't remember. I didn't write it down fast enough. But what age did you capture most of these kids starting at rec with? And how did you build the core foundation with them? Because without the fundamentals, you can't move forward. And I don't care what anyone says. I've seen coaches cherry pick players, and as soon as the not valued talent is there, they discard them like they're a rotten banana. And it breaks my heart as a parent, because the foundations aren't being worked on anymore?
I think for me, it was the passion. I found very passionate players. My son, they started when they were 6. And recreational, some of these kids tried the first season and they don't like it. Some will quit after the season, or some will they go playing 5 minutes, they cry, they go sit and then decided they don't want to play anymore. So as we started to grow the team and more time goes, we were like the kids that they really love and feel passion for the sport, they will stay in the team as the other ones were leaving. And they were giving me, because I wasn't being picked at that time. It was recreational, just whatever the association gave me. It was the kids that I had to work with. So I found a lot of these kids that had the passion to learn and to play, and that they really love the sport. And all I could add to that, it's just the same passion that they bring, plus my knowledge with the technique, the work, the fundamentals, ability, the physical work that we can add to that, the knowledge. But I think this group that we have and that we started, I'd say probably 4 years ago, with the majority of them, they've been together. So the passion that they have to watch games on TV, to learn, to follow these players, to learn about it, the history of football, not just from Ronaldo and Messi, but going back 10, 15, 20, 30 years, from knowing the history of who has won all the World Cups. Little details like that I always talk to Mike and Rigger, like, from the beginning, we gotta find kids that have the passion for it, not just, oh, my parents paid for me to play soccer just to keep me busy running around.
And I think that to circle back to the original question, I think Mike, Mario, and myself have proven to these parents that we care for their kids, that we care for the development of their kids, and looking for them to, grow that sport within themselves, like Mario's highlighting. And it's huge. I think it's a very unique situation when you have coaches that care, that are passionate of what they're doing, that they want to see the players succeed. And once the players understand that, it's just like being in a job setting, right? If your manager understands that you care about them, they're going to give you your all. And that's the same scenario here that Mario is put out on the field.
I like that. As you're now moving forward, and this is where my brain goes, because I do understand these kids are getting ready for the next phases of their life. And you talked about building not just great soccer players, but great citizens of society. Are you prepping them for the next phase? So if they choose to go to college, are you teaching them what they need to do, or pointing them in the right direction? With a smaller club, it's much easier. You don't have to worry about hundreds of kids. You only have 15 kids, 14 kids to worry about right now. Do you guys have something in place, or going to have in place? Because once you have it, when you bring in the next age group, it's easier to continue down that path with getting them prepped. Mario, my son's the same way. He has said from the time he's been about 4, he's going to be a pro athlete. And about 6 years old, 5 years old, he decided he wanted to be a pro soccer player. So I get that. Like, he has nothing else on his mind other than being a pro athlete. Even when we throw curveballs questions with schooling on what happens if he doesn't make it to be a pro, how he's going to provide a living for himself. And he's 10, but you're getting to the age in a year they can, you're at 8th grade. In 3 years, they can start communicating back and forth with the college. But right now, are you teaching them what they need to do, or have resources available for them if they choose to go that route? Or do you guys have a pathway program with leagues in the area? My example is they're going to be 14, maybe next summer start game, then maybe start Lions Futbol Club, NPL, UPSL team, and throw them in with the big guys out there and start getting beaten up by 20-something plus, because the only way you get better is by grinding with people that are better than you. So what is the pathway program that you guys see for your players?
Like I said before, we started at the lowest level on the division, at the competitive level, because we were a little bit scared coming from recreational. We didn't know what all this Allegro was going to bring to us. But yeah, that's our plan to probably go into first division now in the PPIL this season. And from there, trying to come to a more competitive league to teams that are ranked probably under 20 on the state of Texas to get these kids ready to hopefully then make it into the high school team and keep working with them. They're going to be working in high school, keep working with them with the Lions, and just advice to them that you got to do like we always do. Have good grades, behave, listen to your parents, listen to your teachers in school, be good people, be respectful, have discipline, not just in the soccer team, but in life at home and at school. That's very important. Something that marked me in my life is that I come from a third country, very poor country, where respect and discipline, it goes a long way. Being raised by a single mom, that's the things that she taught me since I was a little kid. And when I came to the States, I have always loved and admired that from this country, that anything that you set in your mind, you can accomplish. Going back to that thought that my son says, he only wants to be a soccer player. I reflect myself in that just like a mirror, because that was me when I was a little kid. And eventually when I hit, I don't know, I'd say 13, 14, 15, I realized that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't gonna make it that professional soccer player. But the passion for soccer didn't die there, and I had to do good in school. But yeah, that's at least my mentality, is just to keep pushing them, taking to better leagues, and just keep playing against best teams out there. That's the only way we're going to get better. Doing this the city out of town tournament and going to compete at the highest level possible. So they see what else is out there and to make him better each time.
So I don't leave myself on mute. Do you guys collaborate with other clubs or work with other independent clubs to maybe not swap players, share players, but try to build like a coalition where you guys can have more of a say in the market to help each other out? Or are you guys strictly trying to stay truly independent?
We've been pretty lucky in that we've got a couple of, I wouldn't necessarily call them sister clubs, but similar to a sister club, so to speak, some other independents in the area that we developed some solid relationships with from the coaching perspective. And then also the kids have gotten to know each other over the years where I wouldn't say we swap players necessarily, but we do allow the kids to guest play back and forth amongst the other teams. Martin and Rick have become acquainted with some of the other coaches as well. I work with one of the other coaches as well, who coaches a club out of Gainesville, just about 30 miles north of us here. I think understanding that we're small, we're an independent, but that doesn't mean that we don't appreciate or understand the need to grow the perspective and be able to have other resources, other teams to scrimmage against, other teams to work with. The two teams that we primarily partner with are both, they're in the U15 teams now. They were U14 teams last year while we were U13. And being able to have the opportunity to practice with those guys, get some scrimmages together with those guys, it really helped our team continue to grow and develop. Again, we had a pretty good run through the first two seasons of PPL, and being able to play some of these older teams with bigger kids, faster kids, stronger kids, frankly, more skilled kids, I think it really helped us to continue our development. And, and again, I really think just the exposure and the ability to partner with these other clubs has helped us continue our growth and to continue to be a better club.
With what you guys are doing, you guys train 3 days a week in season. Do you guys have or recommend certain camps, or do you have camps for your players where you bring people in? You said because of how you're able to do stuff, you're able to have guests come into your training sessions. Do you all recommend them continuing their soccer ability with other, for soccer camps, or do you all have your own soccer camp for your players where you all spend more time with them for a week or a week and a half or a half a week, whatever it may be, to prep them for more? Because if they're like my kid, it's never enough soccer. It would be 6 hours, 7 hours a day, and he would be content, and maybe not even then.
Yes, as me as the head coach, I do recommend as many camps that they can do. I always send them as many touches that you guys can get. It's just going to get you better. you don't want to get worse by practicing more. Yeah, with like right now that we're in the summertime, I think most of our kids are doing summer camps. They were doing it last week, this week, or in the coming weeks. We had our first summer camp last year that we were in for the first time for the Lions. And we bring guest coaches too. I think that's very important so they can see something different, see some different coaching styles, different knowledge from other places. So they can learn from different people. Yes, I highly recommend summer camps, practicing with other people, learning. Anything that has to do with that soccer ball, any extra touches, it will definitely help. We bring Coach Ciro Martinez, which a lot of people know here in the DFW area. He's been coaches since like the 70s and 80s, and he's our guest coach, and he comes overseas and at least on once or twice a month to help with the kids, and kids love him. He's a great guy and have a lot of knowledge. But they're always running in camps and doing different activities to get better, and I definitely recommend that.
Okay. Is there anything you guys want to share that I have not talked about, or that you think is critical for the masses to know? Because I feel like I'm missing something here, and I can't think of the question in the back of my head. There's one in the back of my head. I can't think of it at this moment, and it hasn't been tripped yet, or tripped. There's the word, yet. And it's, I feel like you guys are in a unique boat, and you don't have to answer to the financial side of everything that big clubs have and the downfall of them. And with that being said, you guys have the upper hand, I feel.
But
One
I will
coach
say,
close.
I'm sorry, I think we've touched on this before, but the parent engagement piece and the culture piece just can't be overstated. The three of us have been together now for 4 or 5 years. It's easier now with the competitive club than it ever was with the rec club, right? Which you would think it would be the inverse, right? You would think the rec club would be easy and the heavyweight club would be hard. It's completely the opposite. The competitive club is by far easier than the rec club because all of the parents are completely engaged versus, the rec club, the parents just showed up. The competitive club, everyone's engaged, everyone gets it, everyone understands. The rec club, and Mario was fighting fires every single week, every single game, versus now it just doesn't come up that way. And again, it's because we've got the Reddick families, the Reddick Canes, and our parents all engaged for the same purpose versus the rec side of life. It wasn't like that.
Yeah, and I think it's the politics, right? The rec politics, because we were lambasted season after season when we were in rec. Once we moved to competitive, it was a whole different ballgame. We were able to grab that steering wheel and drive this boat the way that we wanted to. We navigated this thing to where not only financially, but it's also culturally in our hands. The financial piece is huge. A lot of these parents that we talk to from other teams that we play against they're not happy. And so they're looking for playtime because that's what they pay for. And they pay thousands of dollars for just the season. And then that doesn't include tournaments and shirts and or uniforms. Here, it's a little bit more controlled, and it's easy to swallow this competitive pill that for the most part, most parents going into a competitive environment, they know that it's coming. They don't know how big that pill is. And I think that, to your point, Ian, we had the upper hand here, and we're able to showcase that with the results in the feeds.
Awesome.
So we'll make that. And I think to close, at the end of the day, it's about the kids we already played, right? It's about developing these kids. And some of these soccer associations, like this guy saying, they don't help you out. You just think that they make it more difficult for you as a coach that is donating your time and knowledge to be able to help these kids out. And that doesn't help. It makes no sense. Like they were saying to me, it seemed like I was fighting with the soccer association when we were in rec like every other weekend, and it was very, very stressful just for minor things. And talking about that economic thing too, is just, to me, it's ridiculous. Clubs that charge $4,000 to these kids. don't include uniforms, don't include extra tournaments. Kids don't even get enough playtime. They got 30, 40 kids and the roster, and they just move them around, and kids don't even play. It's just ridiculous. Instead of doing it, for example, in Europe, if you see a kid that has talent, instead of you paying the club to play, the club will pay you, or will pay the kid's school, or give you money for uniforms and everything so that kid can play for your club. And they're the one that takes the risk to see if this kid's ever going to make it professional or semi-pro or that thing. But here it has become such a huge business that for someone like me that loves the sport, it hurts. It's just, I don't think it's right. Who am I to fix it? But I think that's my point of view when it comes to the economic part of it.
Maria, you say that we're going to fix it, but you've built the team and you've done a heck of a job fixing it for our kids.
Yep.
Thank you. Yes.
It's hard. Now it's hard to build a club. It's hard to do the footwork. I can't imagine being in your shoes. I sat there once and I started off and I'm like, nope, I'm not doing this. It's too much work. And that's because I wanted my son to go play at the level that I thought he deserved to play at. And I'm going to wrap this up with my favorite question. And I'm going to have Rick and Michael go first, and Mario, you can go last because you'll have more to say. Rick and Michael, who has been your greatest influence on you guys as coaches now? Because you guys are like me, you don't have a soccer background in this beautiful game of soccer. And when it's your turn, Mario, who has been your greatest influence as a player, and who has been your greatest influence as a coach?
My greatest influence as a coach is my son. He's the one that's coaching me, and he doesn't realize that. Just based on the performance that he puts out on the field, whether it's on outdoor or indoor, or even here at home, he's been my biggest influence.
That's very cool. I'm going to go a completely different direction with it. I had an old boss going on almost 20 years ago, who my particular professional, I guess, path, so to speak, I'm a CPA by trade. And this particular gentleman just took a shine to me and went, okay, you know what? We're going to teach you about food and beverage and hotels and all the other sides of the business that I had absolutely no exposure to. And it was just one of those kind of life lessons that stuck with me. Wow, this guy really took some of his own, personal time, personal capital to invest in me and teach me about a broader spectrum of interest than I had ever been exposed to, or that really I'd had a chance to really play in that sandbox, so to speak. When I take that and I look at where we are now, look at these 15, 16, 17 kids that we've been entrusted with, identifying and understanding the strengths that they have, the talents that they have, and maybe being able to apply those in a way that either we've not thought of before, or their parents hadn't thought of, or they may not have thought of before. Maybe a great offensive player, he might be a spectacular defender. Maybe we've got a kid who's always played in the middle that might make a good striker. I think it's just the variability of thinking and, looking for, I guess, different skills where what might not have been previously identified is I think, been probably the biggest influence on me from a coaching perspective.
Wow, there's a tough question. I had many coaches throughout my life, back home in Costa Rica and here in the States. But I think Coach Schrader from Dyer High School here in Denton, he was a very strict guy, very strict. And I think I picked a lot from him when it comes to that, how strict I am in the field with the kids. And when it comes to practice, he was always very respectful. He was very passionate. He knew a lot about soccer. If I'm not mistaken, after I graduated from high school, he won a couple of times the state with Dyer High School. He's a great coach. Funny story, I went to a summer camp after that many years later, and I took my son. It was his summer camp, and it was my son's time to practice. And he was one of the coaches running the big camp. And then he saw me sitting on one of these foldable chairs. Early into you. And Larry was like, "You got a son now?" And here he is. Oh my God. And then you're making me feel so old. He was a great coach. I learned a lot from him. And big world. I think Joseph Guardiola is my idol as a coach. That guy is just, to me, is the best in history, probably. And when it comes to a soccer player, I have so many. I'm a Messi lover. A guy just out of this world. It's just natural talent. It's amazing. Maradona, something amazing, incredible things. Ronaldinho Gaucho was really good. And I think the most elegant player that I ever seen was Zidane from France. I think those are my top players. And great soccer players.
Hey everyone, I hope you all have enjoyed this week's episode of Chat by the Pitch with Lions Futbol Club. Now, I know that this club is small, but it's mighty, and what they're trying to do is unbelievable. And I get that most people might not understand what they're trying to do, or they think it might be too basic. But let me tell you, being around enough coaches like I have and doing this as long as I have now, I have learned what they have and what they're trying to do is absolutely amazing. And I honestly believe it's the correct format to follow. Hey everyone, if you guys have enjoyed this podcast, have enjoyed what I've been trying to do, the messages that I'm putting out there, please give me some ratings, some stars on all the podcast sites that you listen to this on. Give me a review, share this, share with others. The more I can make this grow, the more I can continue doing this. I'm really trying to make a difference in our soccer community. So I hope you guys have enjoyed all this. And until next time, I'll see you at the pitch.